Hey, what's going on, guys? Diligent J Trader back with another day trading recap. Today I'm going to go into a little bit of a deeper dive into the Bible verse that I'm doing. I picked out today Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 through 7. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart, your minds, in Jesus Christ." So Paul wrote this for Philippians from the prison, addressing the church in Philippi, a community which he was close to, and helped support him during his imprisonment financially. Um, if we as believers live in the nearness of God and we rejoice in Him, and we just have union with Him, anxiety has no rightful place inside of us. This letter emphasizes joy, contentment, and spiritual strength, even amid suffering and hardships that we may be going through. So the be anxious for nothing, is not telling us to be naive with optimism, but it is instructing us to give away that paralyzing, you know, the paralyzing anxiety to God. Just surrender it to Him in everything. No concern of ours is too small or too big for God to handle, in all aspects of life: financial, relationship, emotional, just even with family. So, any prayers that we have, no matter how small or how big we think they may be, God is always listening and will always, answer in His way. In petition, basically, urgent request of prayers, thanksgiving, we have to give gratitude and think about all the past faithfulness that God has helped us, within our life, the grace, the mercy, the love, even for sins that we may have committed. He will look back and give us that grace, mercy, and love. He's always been faithful to us, and that helps us focus on Him and not our problems. Our problems are momentary, but He is forever. So, peace of God, that is the inner tranquility that transcends human logic. That peace will act as a guard against our emotion, or act as a guard for our emotions, thoughts, maintaining spiritual stability inside of difficult circumstances, hardships, and trials and tribulations. So that peace of God, we pray for it, we need it, um, and some days we need it more than others, right? And all of this comes from the unity that we have with Jesus Christ. So now we tie this into trading, right? Um, it's not, this is good. It's not just used, for entries or exits, but the whole of trading, planning. We should not be anxious. There should be no anxiousness in the plans that we make. When we are looking for entries, we shouldn't have fear and anxiety of entering into the trade. We should be accepting of the loss that, uh, you know, already before we get in the trade. We're willing to risk the money that we put on. The trade management, there should be no anxiety inside the trade, whether you're up or down money. The money isn't yours until you close out a trade. There should be no anxiety or fear, ruling over what you're doing. Exiting the trade, we shouldn't exit from fear of losing money. The anxiety of, oh, I'm up $100. Let me close out real quick. Let me close out, get this to, fix my last couple losses. Um, and we shouldn't allow the results of our trading day to make us anxious about, the rest of our day. We should have prayer each day before trading, for our trading day, of course. I mean, you should wake up in the morning and do your prayers, just about being thankful for all, another great day, your family, just the things in your life. Pray for people, not just things that you need or want, but just pray for everything that you already do have. And then each day before trading, I try to do prayers, and I pray for wisdom, discernment, self control, not having self reliance, not fully relying on just myself, my plans, but being at peace, having that peace of God just inside of me. When a trade shows itself and is around, my thing is, nothing from God should make you worry or fearful, but you should come to you with peace. So when I feel that way about entering trades, I know that it's a good trade, solid trade, follows my edge and outliers. I'm not forcing things, looking for money, but just trusting in Him. Um, you know, with his peace over us, no matter win or lose, whether we have a large account or a small account, um, it's all in his plan. We know that with, everything that has ever happened in our life, good or bad, has helped us, right? If you trust, believe, and have faith in God, you can look back over your life and see that all of the things that you thought were terrible, or all the things that, happened to you, were happening for you. They were blessings in disguise. I mean, I've had many things. I was a drug addict. I've had all of these, just we aren't able to pay for bills, rent, groceries, and all those times, God has always provided. I mean, there have been multiple times where, um, my wife was out, off of work. She had surgery. I was off of work for 12 weeks, and God provided. You know, I was 12 weeks unpaid. She had no income either, and we had food. We had help from the church. We had, rent paid, bills paid, and we were in debt and have paid that debt off. I mean, God always provides for us. We should always have that peace. Yeah, we always have the fleshly desires, the fleshly fears, just of this world, but it's hard to, sometimes in the moment think of all these things that God has done, but he's never failed you and he never will. Um, so I feel like this was a really good verse for me today. Just recently, I had to take out a lot of my trading account, simply just to make my yearly payments for my subscriptions. So I've paid about close to $1,500 to $2,000, just for all of my yearly subscription stuff. I've been praying about it. God, gave me no reason to feel like it was the wrong thing to do, and it's left me with close to only $500 in my account. Um, and if you've been following my past four trades that I've taken, have been losses. Today was another loss. Last month's last three losses, honestly, were avoidable losses. They should have been avoided, but you know, that's just kind of what happens every now and then. And I'm not gonna lie. Today, I kind of was on the verge of, um, you know, thinking, maybe this isn't for me. I've had, let's see, the past 2 months, I have had six winning trades and about 16 losing trades. And that sucks. That really does. But at the same time, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm pretty close to losing all the money in my account. I'm about 10 losses away. Sounds like a lot, but psychologically, when you see these, $50, $60 losers, and you're seeing it leave your account, um, it kind of makes it a little bit harder on you, feeling like you're failing, feeling like you're not doing something right. My edge, I see it work multiple times. I like that absorption at key areas. Value area high, value area lows. Gex levels, um, psychological whole numbers, and in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, my past four trades I've lost, but granted, my last three trades, most of them are avoidable. Um, One was on an FOMC day. Two on the 30th were overtraded forced trades, and so you know, I'm just I almost allowed that. I've been having this pit in my stomach from having these losses, and my account's lower than it has been in a long time, almost 2 years. Um, I've not been consistently successful. I feel like I've been wasting time, trading for 7, 8 years. Feel like all of this time has been for nothing. But I've been praying to God. I have to get a new job soon, just to work out with my life schedule. And you know, by the end of this month, I need a new job. And I can't work the shift that I'm working, so that means I got to start moving to first shift, which means I won't be able to trade anymore. My account feels like it's dwindling, and honestly, overall, it kind of just feels like everything I'm doing is falling apart. But as I sit back and I pray, trying not to be anxious, in these, I just pray. I think of all the things that He has done for me. I present God with all my requests, right? and that peace that sits over my body some days, not every day, because of course we're going to have hard days, doubtful days. That peace that sits over my body, knowing that these moments where it feels like everything is crumbling, everything's, we're getting last second on everything else, are the exact moments when God does his miracles and blessings. I feel like giving up more so than ever right now. And inside me, deep down, I know that means that I need to keep pushing through harder than I've ever pushed. So that's just kind of, what this scripture spoke to me about today. Just sharing a little bit of my struggles recently, and just, trying to realize that all of this is for my good. And granted, maybe I do need to, get a new job. God will provide me with something in the morning, and trading will be done. And that doesn't mean it's done forever. That may mean it's just done for the season. I've done this for 8 years. Haven't been successful consistently, but that's sometimes just how it is, and I have to come to accept that, and that's fine. But I just felt like I needed to kind of go over this, and it just was a good deep dive into this one today. So I'll get back onto my trading. I took a long today. It was around the 78.14s at 10:14 this morning. You know, we broke below 7,800, held above. Let me see. Let me pull up some pictures here that I got today. We got. So we broke below 7,800 at open, rallied up to 7,820, pulled back, came back around that 7,800 level. Um, and I mean, we had massive selling, massive selling. We were like almost 3,000, negative 3,000 delta below where we were at low of day, and we were still making about 5-10 points higher. At this point right here, I was watching because we were making higher lows. Delta was dropping. I didn't really see any signs of like aggressive buying that I would like to see in the market to enter here. So I was waiting. We filled this bid right here. And then earlier we filled a bid around the 78.01s, I think, 78.02s, and rallied up from there. Now, I really didn't want to short up here that I didn't have any levels till about 78.25. Um, and I mean, we were at all time highs. We've been rallying the past 2 days. So, granted, um, you know, consolidating above 7,800. I had, follow a lot of other traders who were saying, hey, this looks like distribution, consolidation above 7,800s, but failing to make new highs. It looks bearish, but in my mind, I was thinking I can't short an all time high, against all this massive absorption. I mean, there were massive sellers, right? In this market, we were still making higher lows. There's a picture of it will be on my Instagram here, of the daily value area. We broke below value area low and VWAP, held it, and regained with that. About the 78.10 area was right where VWAP was at. So I was confident in this trade. As you can see here, from 10.10 to about 10.12 ish, there is another higher low, and Delta is dropping, showing all that selling is being absorbed by someone, passive buyer. I was just patiently waiting to see if we were going to get a, aggressive buying stepping in, and I like to see about 100 lot to 100, more like 100 to 150 lot buy orders hitting after we have this signs of absorption, filled bids, higher lows. And so I was just kind of patiently waiting, and I didn't want to force anything. I was more so looking for, once again, looking back, we are in this tight range between 78.16 and 78.10, right? Consolidation. My entry will come here in about a minute ish, around 78.14s. You'll see the aggressive buying step in, but technically, I feel like maybe I should have waited for this consolidation, an aggressive breakout above it, and a pullback into that, like the 78.16, 78, 13s. But right here, I was kind of just watching, higher lows, Delta was dropping, and then we had this buying starting to step in, right? You see all this green delta at the bottom, all the green, aggressive buying bubbles. There's resting offers above, which could have been, I was, using to see if we could go up, break above them. You see this large aggressive buying, and I got long right here and a little pullback. Let's see, I got long at exactly 7814.75. So right here, pretty much near the high of this range. Um, Look at that aggressive buying stepping in, and I got long right here. Bam. Just looking for a slight pullback into that. My stop was below the 7809s, or no, it was at 7809.25. So pretty much like low of this consolidation range. And I was targeting a 7825. So I was risking about 5-ish points to make close to 10. It was a 2-to-1 RR at all-time highs. It's not terrible, but I mean, just looking back on this, you'll see me pull up a footprint chart here in a second, and um, when I pull up my my bar chart, my bad, I can think of it as just a chart basically. You'll see that I literally bought in the middle of this range, like all day from 9:30 till about right right when I got stopped at about 10:19. We were just consolidating between these 7820s and 7800s, and I bought pretty much at the highs of that range. Um, and as we're in a positive gamma environment, technically, I should have been shorting at the highs of that range and buying at the lows. It's just mean reverting. So I should have looked for a better confirmation of longs as we broke out above this consolidation, or shorts as we broke below, because technically my level I was watching was 7,800, and we aggressively broke below 7,800, retested around 10:45, and then sold off the rest of the day into my 77.70 and 77.50 levels. So, you know, I mean, I did see absorption as you see here. Higher lows, lots of higher lows coming in, consolidation, lots of selling not being rewarded. I wanted to see this aggressive buying step in to rally us. Granted, we've rallied almost 200 points in the past like two sessions, so I should have taken that into consideration with no pullbacks. Um, but this is all in hindsight. At the time, we're at all-time highs, right? All this aggressive selling not being rewarded, or buyers stepping in each time they try to pull us back. So once I saw this resting offer right here, I actually kind of like that, because quite often I see consolidations like this, resting offers, and if we can go up and sweep through them, we have aggressive buying follow through. Now, we did not have that happen today. Sadly, I took this loss about 2 minutes from here, but we did fill this offer, and that should have probably been a sign. As we rallied up and hit and filled this offer, we failed to move higher. So that means aggressive buyers were hitting that offer, nothing. And then here in a second, you're gonna see and a bid step up here, about a 500 lot bid, and we're gonna fill that bad boy, and it will pretty much sell us off. So I was just in here watching, and he filled that offer, tried to break above, failed to have aggressive buying after, right? So that should have been one sign. Hey, start looking for you know exits. You know all this buying stepping in after trapping these sellers isn't moving us anywhere. We're stuck in a tight range. Um, Either take a small loss on this, wait for better confirmation for reentry, or wait for, look, here's that 500 lot or offer again. I think this is the one that we actually fully fill. You'll see. Yep. About a 500 lot offer filled up right here, right? And look at that lack of aggressive buying afterwards. Small green bubble, smaller, smaller. And you'll see us, an aggressive, there's a bid that's going to step in any second now, right here. About the same exact size. Now, I'm not, it could be the exact same guy who bought in right here, seeing that we failed to aggressively move back up, and then we sold off, and he stopped himself out, took a small loss on it, and that really should have been where I looked to exit this trade. I literally get stopped out here in the next couple seconds. We just kind of sell off below 78.09. And then from there, pretty much all day, we just sell off. So sucks. I got caught at the highs. Wasn't terrible, but there were signs to exit earlier. So thank you for watching this trade, and I'll be back with another trade recap.